Going live. Hi, everyone. I didn't figure out how to go live from my earlier link that I set up in advance, but I'm hopefully going to go live now and then you can watch it later. So what happens is I have a Raspberry Pi sitting right here on the table next to me. I have a couple of them actually, just to hold up and show you. But that one there has been running my smart home for about 2 years now. It's got, it's a Raspberry Pi 3. And it works quite well, actually. But all you have to do, you don't really have to understand. And it works quite well, actually. But all you have to do, you don't really have to understand how these Raspberry Pi works. This is basically like a laptop, only tiny. It has a little SD card, which is the brains of it. You have an image that you download from iot.mozilla.org/gateway. Flash the image onto the card, plug it in, and after that, the setup is all through a browser. You just open a browser. Actually, you do this captive portal connection, and it's all on the DIY tutorial that I will link to the description of this video. But the setup of this thing is actually pretty simple. You get it on your network. You give it a secure subdomain so that only you can log into it, because this is all private. It's running here in my house. This is not connected to the cloud at all. And then you give it a username and password, and you can give it user accounts for as many people in your house as you want. So I'm going to run through this stuff pretty quickly, since I'm not really sure how to screen share, and without screen sharing, it's kind of boring. So this is my home, and right outside the front door there, I have a security, a camera, and this camera is going to show me, is basically pointed outside the front door. So at any time I can log in and through this WebRTC, just see the feed. You can stream it too, but I'm not going to do that. And then the whole interface for like turning things on and off, turn on the office light, turn it off. It's pretty simple because it's all through a browser. I would recommend doing all the setup and configuration and rules and everything through your laptop. But once you got it set up, then this is an easy interface to access. I use it for home security is one thing. Basically, I have 3 different door sensors, and I'll take you to one of them. So this is a door into the garage right here. And you can see that's a Samsung Smartthings one. When I open this door, then I scroll down here and you see the door sensor is open. When I close the door sensor is closed. And you see also there's a Samsung Smartthings motion sensor. That's this guy right here. And that thing also detected my motion when I walked by. So getting back to the Raspberry Pi here, you can see that, so home security, all those motion sensors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on a rule that I have just disabled because I'm home. But the rules here, there's a rule here. It says, if any of the doors open, it's going to send a Slack message to me. So no matter where I am, there's a Slack channel, and it's going to alert on the Google Home. So while I open the door, I'm going to just show you what happens here. Watch this little Google Home and listen for it, because I'm going to open up the door again after setting the rule.
Unauthorized persons are requested to leave the premises immediately.
And I didn't catch you in time, but I basically got a Slack notification on my phone, and it told me about this unauthorized access. I'm going to turn that rule back off. And then if I go and look at things, you can see that it turned on a bunch of lights, and any of the lights that are colored lights, there's a couple that are colored, it turned them red. So even my front garden, so if I had an issue, I could have the front garden lights turn red, and my neighbor across the street might help me out. So home security, that's very very useful. And all the motion sensors, like I don't expect any motion sensors that are inside to go off. Sometimes there's wind or motion or people going by can affect the outside ones. So home security is obviously a value. And then home monitoring. So there's a detector under the sink, for example, right there. This is a Samsung Smartthings detector. And not only does it know if it's wet or dry under the sink, but it also has temperature. So Samsung Smartthings, all of their battery operated stuff has temperature, which is really convenient. I have temperature under the sink, in the laundry room, in my office, and an upstairs door sensor. And I have a rule assigned to the upstairs door sensor that when the temperature is above 23 degrees Celsius, which is like 75-ish Fahrenheit or something, and I open the door, while the door is open, turn on the fan. So there's a Smartthings smart plug right there, and the fan connected to it, blowing out the hot air. Now, so home monitoring, temperature sensors, and then I also have outside weather. For example, let's go down here. So earthquakes, weather is kind of hard to see on this screen, but basically the weather at Stanford, where I live, is all shown there. And if I wanted to have outdoor gardening set on based on if it's raining or not, or temperatures or wind or anything, you can imagine I could do it based on this input from the internet. All right, so that's all the sort of the home monitoring aspects of it. And there's way more you can do. I'm just scratching the surface. And then home convenience, one of my favorite things is voice control. So if you look back at the Raspberry Pi, there's a speaker microphone enabled. Now, right now, because of the alert state, this study light, which I put right in here, is red. What if I say, hey, Snips, turn the study to blue? Then this light goes blue, and lo and behold, the light actually turns blue. So now I can do it from this perspective. Hey, Snips, turn the study to red. And it goes back to red, or I could turn it to multiple colors, obviously. And then all of this stuff that turned on, there's a rule called the house that turned everything on. There's a little pulse called everything, and that's just a convenient name that I assigned to a rule. It's not a real button or a thing, but it's what I use with my voice. So all of these things that are on, I say, hey, Snips, turn everything off. And then you see all of those lights turn back off. So I tell you, smart home stuff, the reason that it doesn't need to go out to the internet to process those voice commands, completely private, running on the Raspberry Pi, nobody knows what I said, is because the language model, the number of words, is pretty limited. So you can actually process it on the local Raspberry Pi. Now we're working, Mozilla is working on deep speech integration with this gateway, because when we did this like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, we used the SNPs libraries, but they won't be open source forever. Anyway, the voice integration is just awesome. And then the rules are the crux of it in terms of interoperability. This is the reason that my Ikea, Xiaomi, Samsung, TP-Link, Wemo, LG TVs, Sonos speakers, you name it, it's all interoperable because you have these web layer interactions, and everything is written as a property, actions, and event description in JSON. So all of this stuff is brought to a high JSON level, and that's a W3C Web of Things initiative. So go to w3c.org/WOT. That's what the Mozilla Web Things Gateway idea came from, and this Mozilla is completely open source implementation. So, I basically, for all of my smart outlets and things like that, I have these battery operated smart buttons to go with them. And so I thought maybe lastly I could just go around and show a few more things like of what you might see. So we're just gonna go. I'll show you that right here behind a plant. I have the Ikea motion sensor, and this is just one that points out on the back deck. Then on the back deck, if I look up right here, there's a string of lights. Those string of lights are connected to an Ikea smart plug that's way up on the upper deck. And conveniently, you know, I don't want to go up there. I usually use my voice to turn on the string, or I can just open my smartphone here and scroll around and find it. Where is it? Your string. Okay, here it is. And I turn the string, and I don't know if you can tell, but so that in a nutshell. There's a whole bunch more stuff I could show you, but I think I'm going to leave it at that and try to get this stream tied to the Virtually Maker Faire because I didn't figure out how to get my scheduled one done. So thank you all for watching, and check out iot.mozilla.org. And the last thing I would mention is when you want to build your own things, check out microblocks, microblocks.fun. There's a built-in Web of Things library. And so you can take all the microcontrollers that can run microblocks, and that's what I'm doing now is a lot of ed tech stuff where you take microblocks, install it on, you know, there's a virtual machine on 32-bit microcontrollers, use the Web of Things library, and all of the published JSON events just happen automatically. Most awesome thing. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Virtually Maker Faire 2020.